lights and sirens, yeah, it's time to go, no time to defund us. You should know that we're not perfect, we're human, we're flawed. Just save us some grace for the sake of us all. We're holding that thin blue line, 'cause that's what we do. We don't do it for the glory, we do it for you.
Good afternoon and welcome to In the Lion's Den today. I'm your host, Dr. Bill Lionberger, and today's show, Power, Peace, and National Security. And today we have our special returning guests, Mary Fanning, Major General Paul Vallely, and Lieutenant General Thomas McInerney. Welcome to you all.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Bill.
Well, guys, there's never a shortage of world and national affairs to attend to. Today, I wanted to start by having some discussion about the Virginia election and look at not only the implications, but maybe what's gone on behind the scenes and where does it leave us? Because if they continue to grab power, it's going to make a huge change and a huge problem in the future, right?
Exactly.
So your thoughts, General McInerney?
Well, it's breaking news, but the fact is again, the Democrats cheated using hammer and scorecard like they did in the 2020 election. And we just got that word out from our source. Mary's got the specific details on it. So I'll turn it over to her. Mary, go ahead, give us the numbers.
Well, we just got information that it was stolen, but that's hardly a surprise. They were ahead, and then by 2%, and then with the prismatic scoring algorithm, they reversed the lead to end up then behind. Now, you have to put that in context of something else as well, and that's Spanberger. So this little CIA chick, excuse me, General Vallely, and comes in and she changes the rule of law. She goes and does all sorts of illegal gerrymandering in the state. And my downstream of all of this, she's willing to use the CIA's tool, hammer and scorecard, to steal election. She goes and as she looks to get elected as the governor, she says one thing and does exactly the reverse after she gets in. And my takeaway from that is this: she was CIA, and if her allegiance is to the CIA rather than the country, she does not belong running for office in any way. There's real questions also about where her funding came from, and was it funding through the U.S. or did they just simply run it through another country? But based upon that, Spanberger, nor do I think any CIA person should be allowed to take office in this country, because if their allegiance isn't to the Constitution and to the United States of America rather than the CIA, they do not belong in office.
Yeah, I think you're spot on to that, Mary, and it's something that we ought to consider. But clearly, anybody that has been briefed on it, CIA is protecting it, and it's going to be interesting to see when they expose Brennan and Barack Hussein Obama in the coming months and the potential indictments about the 2020 election. They're originally starting on the Russian hoax, and because the CIA is still using hammer and scorecard, along with the Chinese communists, and I believe the Russians or the Brits have got it as well. The fact is, it is an issue of using cyber warfare in American elections that we must disclose and must provide counters to it. It can be countered, as we know from the 2024 election. So,
And General McInerney and General Valley, we have written, how many books about this. And so just to bring people up to date in case they're not informed, Hammer and Scorecard was a foreign surveillance tool, only to be used for foreign surveillance. Obama, Brennan, and Clapper illegally commandeered the foreign surveillance tool known as Hammer, and they turned it on the American people for the purpose of blackmail and leverage. Now, one of the applications that works off of Hammer is Scorecard. That is a prismatic scoring algorithm that steals the votes at the transfer points. And you can see it as it takes it in a certain percentage as it's stealing the votes. That's exactly what just happened in Virginia. But the fact that these people are using foreign surveillance tools against the people of the United States, it is no different than Stalin when he said it matters not who votes, only who counts the votes. So now we have communist traitors at the helm with power.
Lost your audio for a minute, but you want to pick up there, Paul, for a minute?
Yeah, well, I'm completely remote from the west or the east coast, I should say. I'm way out west, but I'm just surprised that somebody within the Department of Justice and CIA as well as the other powers within the government can't pursue what we put out to them in our books about Hammer and Scorecard. They need to get really active quickly. They need to start fighting and discover why Brennan hasn't been indicted yet. I have no idea. Now they keep saying it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, but over a year now, they've got to put some people in handcuffs here, and because it affects everything, and especially this voting season coming up here, particularly in the blue states, is very scary. And if they don't stop this right now, we're going to have a left-wing Congress now that is going to completely turn this country around even more. And Trump and the executive branch can only do so much.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're spot on, General Vallely. And we might, now is the time to take this on, is to challenge it with what happened in the gerrymandering going on in Virginia yesterday, and challenge that. Frankly, the CIA they don't have to give up if they want to use it, because it is a very effective tool, but they've got to make sure that we're countering it during the election time frame. And we know how to do that. And that's our next book. But the fact is, Dr. Bill, this is a very dangerous process that they're using, and Spamberger, the new governor in Virginia, is clearly using those tools, foreign intelligence tools. And Mary's not. Mary, are you back up yet?
I am.
Well,
Can you hear me, General?
yeah, good, because I think they're listening to us now, Dr. Bill, and they're jamming on certain issues that that are exposing them. They don't want that, and so I may get knocked off here quickly or not. But as General Vallely pointed out, we've got two books, Beyond Treason and Invisible Treason in America, that have come out. And General Vallely, let's give us how they can get it through Stand Up America USA, will you?
Yeah, well, maybe you can show the website, standupamericaus.org. All of our books are on there at a special rate for everybody. To buy our books, get the information that we've put a lot of time and effort in with our background and our analysis of really what has been happening in America, particularly beginning with not only Biden, but the others that have been in there trying to turn this country around and steal it, and posing really in a very effectively a communist-led type of a coup in America. And we've got to start fighting. We cannot tolerate this. And look what happened in New Jersey. California, the sixth largest economy in the world, is falling apart. These left-wing people are destroying us. But it all centers back to honest elections and getting people in there that can lead and support President Trump, what he's attempting to do in this country, holding the ground. But we cannot afford to lose this midterm elections and turn Congress over to the left-wing communist Democrats.
There's people should
Absolutely.
understand something that's so important, and that is when we broke the story on Hammer and Scorecard. I was working with Admiral Ace Lyons, 4-star admiral, one-time head of the Pacific Command. And that information was brought to General McInerney. And then General Vallely joined in as we brought this information to the American people. But we named the first book, The Hammer is the Key to the Coup. And people should understand that's because Admiral Lyons, working with General McInerney, went to the airwaves and they told that they had taken and commandeered this powerful surveillance tool the CIA had, Obama, Brennan, and Clapper. And as Admiral Lyons lay dying, he reached for General McInerney's arm and he said, Tom, the hammer is the key to the coup. You know, you have one of the highest ranking military men in our history, and those are some of his last words that he reaches out for the people to know that the hammer is the key to the coup. It is how they are taking the United States of America down. And this goes back to Obama, a longtime known communist who was not born in the United States, and Brennan, who was part of the Council for a Livable World, put in place by a communist cabal. So, if you understand the foundations of what we're looking at, you begin to see the picture of how they're taking down America.
Yeah, and being funded by all sorts of outside and internal sources. And when we look at the Chinese and we look at the number of hundreds of thousands that the Chinese have put in here, all through our society, not only in government, which we've seen in the last week or so, with some of these individuals that are spying and passing the information back to China, but also all the internal enemies have been developed through our universities and so on. Even our military has been infiltrated.
General Milley.
Dr. Bell, the important thing is we have been talking about this for 5 years now. And none of the mainstream media, particularly Fox News and Newsmax, have even picked up the issue. And so the CIA is doing all they can to cover it up. And part of that reason is both Fox News and Newsmax were part of the conspirator efforts on the 2020 election. They don't like to say that, but they were. I mean, Brett Baer called Arizona before Arizona called.
I remember that.
Called it on the air.
Tom, how much does Tulsi Gabbard know about this? I'm not sure she's even aware of it.
Yes, she is.
Is she?
She's been coming out exactly what we have put out in our books and all of our papers at theamericanreport.org. And she has been talking about from the day that General McInerney read that piece on the airwaves.
Good.
And the very next day, Russia collusion was launched before Congress. Then I put together the talking points that were released between Strzok and Page. They referenced Dennis Montgomery, the man who created the hammer and scorecard. So they knew exactly what was happening. And the other piece of that is Tulsi comes out with each of these pieces. She is saying about Obama, that he ran a coup, Brennan. Interestingly, she's not mentioning much about Clapper. We always figured if somebody folded, it would be Clapper, because when the information came out, he said, we only did what Obama told us to.
Mm-hmm.
So he seemed to be seeking cover.
Yeah.
You know, one of the questions that I have for all of you is who seems to be running interference here? Because you've been banging on this drum for years. You have back channel communications, you know, all the way to the White House. They've got to know this is a problem. And what is blunting, not only discovery of it to the world, really, but, you know, dealing with it even behind the scenes if you have to, so that, you know, obviously this is going to be an important test, right? This gerrymandering that they're trying. I could tell when I looked at her face that she knew it was, you know, she was part of it. But at the end of the day, you know, it's that high of a importance. Who's blunting this? What do you think?
I have no idea.
CIA.
The CIA.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who? What individual?
Well, nobody's
Well,
arrested Brennan yet, have they?
Nope.
And I'll tell you, there's an important piece. So this was you had to have a TSSCI with access to SAP information to even know about this. Only because some military men came to us also to confirm this, not just to me, but also to General McInerney and to Admiral Lyons and to General Vallely. They had worked with this. They said, you're not supposed to know about this. So no one can really talk about a SAP program. However, in the last few weeks, President Donald Trump retweeted a tweet and said they were stealing the election with hammer and scorecard. That came from President Trump's Twitter handle. So that's the first time that he's mentioning those words himself.
yeah.
You
Now,
know,
what people got to understand is Trump's lawyers have told him be very careful, particularly back when he was contesting it in 2021 um, and 2020. Uh, you know that they'll get you for violating the Secrets Act, etc. And so that's why he hasn't done anything. Now, the current director of CIA, John Ratcliffe, he was the DNI at that time, and now, of course, he's a CIA director. Uh, he has let that bureaucracy talk him into, and in all fairness, it is a valuable tool. We don't have to expose the whole thing. We've just got to expose that people have been using uh, and 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 try both Brennan and he had to have approval from Barack Hussein Obama. So they should be indicted for violating the Secrets Act. Uh, and it was one of Brennan's people that sold it to the Chinese, because the Chinese are the ones that this probably came from China. I don't believe it came from Fort Washington, where the CIA is operating hammer and scorecard, Mary. I believe it was Chinese have done this.
Well, remember, we knew that they had transferred hammer and scorecard to China. And the way that we knew this is that Dennis Montgomery gave 47 hard drives that were verified by the FBI and the DOJ. They gave him immunity agreements. Then he gave 3 hours of recorded testimony. He received another immunity agreement. He didn't trust the FBI. Gee, I wonder why. And so he inserted a electronic identifier into the source code. That electronic identifier was then tracked to China, which is how he knew that China had it. Now, one says, well, do we know that this is certain that China had it? Well, the day on January 7th, Ratcliffe came forward and he said China entered our election.
Well, I think the other thing too is the National Security Agency. We put millions and millions of dollars in that agency to track all of this stuff, particularly with a focus on the cyber. I haven't heard anything on a report from them, and I'm not saying we should, but they should be the ones tracking all this interference and from the cyber attacks, which Hammer scorecards dependent upon.
Well, General, let me ask
Exactly.
you something. How valuable is Hammer and Scorecard when they've now given it to the Chinese, the Russians, and the Brits? At
absolutely.
what point is it valuable when when we're going into the New World Order and sharing power with them?
Well, that's a great question, but that's what I'm saying. Go back to our experts at the National Security Council. They should be wiping those out and doing everything they can to jam those signals coming out of China or wherever. I mean,
Hmm.
we can do it. We just need to do it.
You know, and
Everyone,
obviously, considering China's, challenges in the Middle East for energy and oil, and with us especially because we've shut them down in ways that is like third level chess. It even puts more pressure on why they'd want to get involved to see regime change in the U.S. Right?
Yeah.
to a leftist.
Well,
Right?
which takes us to Iran. And the new information that's come out is that Trump has given them another 3 to 5 days to get the things in order. But one of the things I found so interesting is that Trump was going after the uranium. I imagine it's because he wants to see the nuclear signature. Where did the uranium come from? Is that part of the Uranium One deal? Did Hillary and Obama give Iran our uranium? If they hit us with a nuclear weapon made with our uranium, will it have our own nuclear signature? Then we just found that they just arrested a woman who's been selling weapons to Iran, and she's been here doing this since 2016. Is this part of the Obama team?
Well, the background, the Russians are the ones that initiated the support for the Iranians to develop their nuclear program. And they continue to work with North Korea and China over the years. So they've had a vested interest in that uranium and where it came from.
Yeah, General, and that takes us back also to Gulf Tainer and the Club K and the Jafar family, whose
There you go.
business is on Africa Expressway. And
Mhm.
they have the Club K, which we developed, 13 years of R&D, $1.6 billion. And Ash Carter and Obama canceled it. And within 30 days, the Russians have it, although it took us 13 years of R&D.
Very sophisticated, yeah. And now the Iranians have it.
Exactly.
So that kind of brings us forward to we have this deadline. And, from my perspective, from what I've seen is, obviously there's nothing that you can do to trust any of the hardline factions over there in Iran. And nobody is clearly seemingly in charge over there. And so you have a deadline that now comes and goes. When do we have the red line? Where does it exist now? What do you think?
Well, the red line should have been a couple days ago.
Yeah.
They keep shifting it, giving the ratings, but they're being run by the Revolutionary Guard. There's no doubt about that. Those generals been running lead for the Ayatollahs ever since 19. Goodness, when we go back to the 19. What was it? 1970, 69?
79. Mm-hmm.
79, yeah. So from that standpoint, these generals are very powerful. They're the ones that have supported Hamas, Hezbollah, all of the international terrorism. And I think they're running the country, the generals there for sure, and the admirals. Definitely they're running their operations in the Sea of Hormuz.
Well, we also knew that the mullahs were all trained at Patrice Lumumba. And so they have Soviet training or Russian training.
Sure they do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The old Russians, not the new ones.
The old Russians.
Yeah.
The Soviet
Yeah.
Russians.
Exactly.
General McInerney, what do you know? What's coming your way about where we're at?
Say that again, Dr. Bill.
I'm just wondering what is coming your way.
Dr. Bill, can you?
Back channel and other in terms of what's going on over there. Obviously, the Iranians, this is their playbook: stall, delay, stall, and that's what they've been doing, right? Stalling and delay. So, what do you hear?
Dr. Bill, I'm being jammed. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. You're good.
Mary,
We can hear you.
Paul, I'm being jammed right.
Oh,
Huh. He's off the air.
Well, you guys
Yeah.
want to carry the ball?
yeah, he'll be back in a minute. He'll just have to reload.
Yeah.
They don't like these generals coming out and telling the truth to the American people.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'll tell you something. That said, there were very few generals that have come out and fought for this country and put their names on the line and done this day out and day in and day out. And that has been General McInerney and General Vallely.
We got
Thank
you back,
you.
General. Can you hear us?
I don't think he can. But what you have now is the restricted passage again in the straits. They've got to be opened up. And one of the things I suggested that we use the Saudis and the UAE over there. They've got some good armies. We funded them for years and gave them everything they need. They should take the Kark Island and the islands there, and that should be the boots on the ground and use those individuals that have a vested interest in oil. And I don't know why we haven't done that yet, but certainly we got to close this out. We can't let it go too much longer.
Right.
Close it out, get it done. They're going to lie. They're going to cheat. They're going to try to delay any way they can. So close it out.
And
how do
they'll
you
continue to
negotiate-
present false narratives, Dr. Bill.
And how do you really negotiate with terrorists? I mean, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, they
Gotta
only
defeat 'em.
understand one thing, right? Which is power and strength and the loudness of, the noise coming in their direction. So I don't know how you can try to give the open hand to a regime that's, saying death to America.
You can't negotiate with them. You got to defeat them. Period. Get it done.
And it's been going on for how many years? I mean, the fact that this since Lebanon, and the station chief, when people started hearing what they had done to Bill Buckley, that they skinned him alive over months while sending the videos to President Reagan, and that we're the only president who has stood up is Donald Trump is the only one that had the wherewithal to actually fight back. Everybody else was a noodle.
Yeah. Well, the sooner the better. Get it done. Get it over with. Get that Sea of Hormuz open. Get the oil moving. What is the other product there that's that comes out of the south there? I'm trying to think of it. Oh, fertilizer. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, we need that fertilizer out of
Yeah.
Ukraine.
Yeah, there
But
you go.
but you have to give Trump kudos. The man came in, the weapons that he used going into Venezuela, he took out Maduro. He then takes their rare earth minerals and their oil. Then he goes into Iran. He takes out their navy, their air force, and their leadership, and takes control of their oil. He is leaving China in dry dock. They have no oil. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. That's why I don't know why they're holding back now when they should be finalizing this thing. No more delays.
Well,
Delays get us nowhere.
so if you're going to think from President Trump's standpoint, what are his options here? I mean, we've got now 3 carrier groups in the region or more. I mean,
2 there with another one going over, I understand.
yeah. I mean, so we've got
we have everything. We got the 82nd Airborne. We got the Navy. We got the Marines. We control the air. We control cyber, and it could be done within an hour. I mean, we got to close it out, get it done, and find some way to get the Iranian people to stand up and take over. They're ready, and they're ready.
Especially when you see the mullahs.
Government.
For people protesting, the number that they say they've killed so far is 40,000.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is stunning that these people are such animals,
Yeah,
and what they're doing.
Yeah, and they're continuing to do it. That's why I say get it done, get it over with. I take the George Patton approach.
without the tanks or with the tanks.
Well, we got other ways in airplanes and boats and everything else to do that. Yeah.
I'm wondering about this one piece, and that's the infighting that's going on, right? Because there's a lot of it apparently, behind the scenes. They're battling between the political side and the military side. Obviously, the military side has the power. Then you have the IRGC, which is half as big as the military, right? And so, there seems to be this, nobody's speaking from the same mouth program. Is there any benefit in that continuing, or it just, like you say, doesn't matter, just close it down?
Listen, I can tell you, working with the Iranians over the years, it's tough to get them to agree on anything.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've worked with 2 groups in the United States. and it's tough to get them to agree on anything. It's just very difficult, and so that's what you're facing inside. And they have a lot of retired military. From my reports I'm getting, they're there to take over. Problem is they don't have any arms against the forces there that come in, and they mercifully they just kill them. They shoot them down. Somehow I would be raiding the barracks over there, or however they can, or wherever they have their weapons stored, and I would be getting as many weapons as we can. I did get a report that we did give a lot of weapons up to the Kurds in the north, but they kept them. They didn't take them across the border. And we know now they're getting their food by truck coming in from Iraq, from Azerbaijan, up to Kurdistan, and from Turkey. So they're moving stuff into the government, into the country, so they can at least eat and continue. And none of that's been publicized yet.
I had seen something that the Saudis were offering a lot of different benefits for us to continue and take them out. Have you guys heard anything about that? Or
yeah, we need the benefit of their military. Go in and help out here. Got to get them on board. Take over Carg Island.
So it's not just money, right? Step
Right.
in and get some skin in the game, right?
Got yeah.
But it's a lesson. It's a lesson for the American people. They've been able to take down the people in Iran, Ireland, New Zealand. Why? Because they took away their guns. And in this country and under our Constitution, we have the right to arm. And it is imperative for people to make sure that never goes away.
Yep, that's exactly right. You see what happens, right, Mary, when you take the guns away and you can't protect yourself against a government that wants to dominate the people, and that's communism.
Mm-hmm.
Rule the people, control the people, control their money, control their daily activities, and that's we have these left wingers in our own government, in Congress and in the Senate. They're just a disgrace.
It's just a disgrace, is right. But then the fact that Barack Obama is meeting with the Dems in the Senate every week.
Yeah.
In what world has anyone ever seen anything like this?
Well, America's never seen such a betrayal and treason. Obama should be in jail. There's no doubt about it for what he's done.
Keep in mind that Obama lied about Benghazi, and as General Valley and I, we brought this story to the fore. We knew that it was Soleimani and Iran's Quds Force, part of the IRGC, that killed our people at Benghazi. Obama hid that information until people from the CENTCOM and AFRICOM came to us and gave us the information that it was Soleimani and Iran's Quds Force. Now, understand that Obama knew this, didn't tell the truth, and then he struck the JCPOA deal where he sent billions of dollars to Iran.
Yep. Well, we tracked that on back very closely, Mary, including Ace and General McInerney and myself and you, where we basically caught Trey Gowdy, who was the head of the commission then for Congress, or the investigation. And we had 3 people get up and lie to Trey Gowdy. Hillary Clinton said, well, we had no assets over there. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General, trying to think of his name now. And then what was his name? The Congressman, Mary. Panada, I'm trying to think of his name. But anyhow, all 3 of them lied to Congress that we didn't have. We had assets all over. We had assets in our fleet in the Mediterranean. We had assets in Spain, in Italy, in Germany. And they refused to go in and rescue our people. And I heard it said that Hillary Clinton took over. It was a military operation, but the State Department under Hillary took it over. And then they lied. And then Trey Gowdy never followed up and challenged them. Just died. And that's where we came into play. And we formed the Citizens Commission on Benghazi, which later became Citizens Commission for National Security, which is still around, by the way. A lot of background. And we've been following this for 20 some years. I mean, what's been going on. General McInerney and I put out a book in the early 2000s, How to Defeat Radical Islam. It's still out there. Again, all of these books are on our website, standupamericaus.org, but they're also can be bought probably online anywhere.
And instead, radical Islam has come to our doorstep, right?
That's exactly right.
And Texas is grappling with that right now, trying to figure out how they, defeat Sharia law. I'm like, I think the laws in the books probably already do, but if you need to formalize it, I said get at it because
we wrote the book over 20 years ago. 20 years ago, after General McInerney and I came back from the Far East, where we were over there with the Israelis for about a week. So we got to study it quite well, and then we came back and put that book together. And then we followed it on with America's Endgame for the 21st Century, outlined a plan in there. And Mary and Tom and I worked very hard on putting these books together. And but Amazon has them also. You get them on Amazon.
Back to the Straits of Hormuz. What do you think that any level of success, aside from just completely running over the top of them, is there any other level of success you think that we should be looking at, or what are the benchmarks you think that we should consider as successful over there?
Well, success is having, and again, we're not the people over there have to change their government, not us, but that's definitely and follow a constitution that we put together in a group in America called Cyrus Force, cyrusforce.com. You can get that online as well. But we formed or put together a whole new constitution for the people. So. But I just feel bad. They're just not organized. They don't have the guns. And the agency over there that runs all their counter operations against people trying to stand up, the Basad, I think they call them, they just kill them randomly. They don't care. They're animals.
And keep in mind that the real Arab Spring, where Obama went into Egypt, the real Arab Spring was happening in Iran, and their people were standing up trying to take their freedom back then, and Obama offered them no hand. And
Right.
instead, as they killed the protesters then, the amount of people that they've killed who have stood up trying to take back freedom, the numbers are extraordinary. And if President Trump offers them peace and prosperity, they'd better take that deal because it will get a whole lot worse.
Yeah. Well, I can remember, Mary, Obama, when I went in with over 100 men into Syria in 2013, 2014, they're trying to take over the government there from Assad. And we sent messages back to the Pentagon that the Free Syrian Army at that time was pretty valid. Later sort of morphed in with some other radical groups over there, but initially they weren't. They had 18 generals that defected from the Syrian army and all became very close friends of mine. But Obama wouldn't support any air operations, and Obama failed on so many fronts. And I mean, it's just ridiculous we've let people into government like this.
It wasn't an accident.
Kind of leaders.
Yeah. And Obama offered no help. It wasn't an accident. He's been, as he said, if it comes to that, I'll stand with the Muslims. That's his own verbiage. And by the way, General, your expedition and what you did in Syria should be a movie.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, it really should be. It's too bad Tom Clancy's not still here. He'd write the book.
He'd loved it.
Yeah, he would.
I was 2 years old, Mary, when I led 100 men into Syria.
I know.
General from West Point in direct combat. I don't know if that's a fact, but I was 72. I know that when I did it.
Well, the real question is, what's changed? I mean, nothing.
They got a new government, supposedly. Yeah. But that whole region changed. But thank God we have President Trump that's looking at the entire world now and removing evil wherever we can. And this is particularly true in the Western Hemisphere now. And
Yeah.
we've made proposals from our foundation, Stand Up America, that we come up with some kind of a plan for Cuba now, maybe something like Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
There's some options out there, but the people down there, particularly in Venezuela now, are doing very well, by the way.
Yeah,
More,
this is what Trump has done, General. He stopped 8 wars. He goes into Cuba. He grabs the oil. He grabs the rare earth minerals. Does the same thing. Really, Iran has an ability to stand up right now, and Trump is going to keep the Strait of Hormuz. He's not going to let them control the
that's right.
movement of energy,
Yeah.
because he who owns the light bulb implements communism, and seeing that those who have the oil continue to try to implement communism, and also the information coming forward that those in the city of London, the bankers cabal, like all this war and murder and mayhem, are they pulling the puppet strings in Iran?
Well, I think, yeah, to a degree, all the oil brokers work out of London, for the most part, and Singapore. Those are the two main areas that the oil is run by these traders and so on. TRADERS, trading oil, rather than trade.
Who are also TRAITORS.
And so, yeah, it's all about money and control. And who better knows that than our president, who was not only a great president, but a great businessman. I mean, he's so far ahead of everybody, the art of the deal. He knows how to negotiate.
Absolutely.
And of course, that's what he's doing now with the Iraqis, trying to, not the Iraqis, the Iranians, to get them all confused, trying to work the best deal he can for everybody. And it'll happen, but I think, as I said before, the sooner the better.
Well, remember something, and that was also Barack Hussein Obama with the Gulf spill and British Petroleum and pulling all our rigs out of the Gulf of Mexico
Oh,
and
cool.
letting Soros take it over. They have been trying to dismantle the United States. Obama and Biden handing our strategic oil reserve to the Chinese. Taking down our rigs, cutting off drilling in this country. That's why you hear Trump educating the people, drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
I mean, he is really educating the people as he's, stopped 8 wars. He's got the energy moving. Energy is the international currency.
Well, that's
Bill, I've got to run off to another appointment, so I'm going to have to leave you if that's okay.
Okay, very good. I've got some
Thank
questions.
you, General.
Thank you, General. We got General McInerney back.
Great.
Good timing.
Well, can you hear me?
We can.
Indeed.
Perfect.
Can you hear me, Dr. Bill?
Yes.
Yeah, I had to restart all over from turn my phone off, etc., because they're very, very upset what we're talking about. I guess you all talked about the Iranian war and how successful it's been, haven't you?
We have, but we're kind of at a crossroads where we were. Where's, what's the benefit in this negotiation on our side right now, because it's buying us also time for something. What information do you have behind the scenes in terms of what's really going on? And we lost you there.
Well, clearly we've got to maintain control of the straits, and they're so disorganized. I think there is a value, really, in my opinion, to go after the IRGC. I would hold off on the bridges and the power plants and go after the IRGC from the air. We don't want to get involved with the ground war for a lot of reasons. But that will flip the government and the people can take over. We've got probably 70 million people there that want to be free again. And I think we ought to really unleash the Crown Prince as well and work it that way. But we've got them where we want them. And Trump, as you've been talking about, has been doing all this brilliantly. And the Democrats are fit to be tied because they can see what President Trump has done can win the midterm elections. Now they've got to get involved and make sure that we cut out the cyber and what they're doing there. But President Trump, we've never had a president like him. We've never had a President Trump like President Trump, in my humble opinion.
It's like having Patton in office, isn't it?
It is.
I wanted to move us over to Q&A and bring Erica in. Come on in, Erica. Give us a moment to get her in.
We should, there we go. Hey, Aaron.
Okay, so I'm going to circle back to the beginning of the conversation. And I know we kind of discussed this on a previous show, but what do you think is preventing the US from moving or reverting back to paper ballots until we have confidence in an electric voting or electronic voting system? Is it just lack of public awareness, or what do you think is preventing that from happening?
The Democratic Party.
The communists within. The Democrat Party has become communists.
But do you think that there isn't enough public awareness about the insecurity of electronic balloting?
The legacy media is the lying media. The legacy media does not tell the American people the truth. So they're not hearing. We can go to, they ran a program where they had 6 or 7 states set up and they ran a paper ballot only, hand counted, etc. It took them less than 12 hours to run the election, better than anything electronic. The moment electronic enters, you can steal the vote. You can steal it at the point where they transfer the vote to the vaults. It can be stolen 6 ways from Sunday. And as we saw in 2020, they did steal it 6 ways from Sunday.
And yesterday.
And yesterday. And Virginia.
Moving on to the Iran situation. I know there's lots of talk about the US reaching agreements with Iran. But considering the fact that Islam has what they call the holy lie as part of their commandment to defeat the infidels, how can we trust that anything that Iran agreed to, that they would even like adhere to that agreement?
You can't trust them. Okay, let's just face it. You can't trust them. It's got to be done with force. It's got to be done the way President Trump has done it. It's been done brilliantly. And keep the straits locked up so they go broke. And when they don't have any money, that's when the country's going to come apart.
That's right. And Trump has done a beautiful job with that, as General McInerney just said. But you can't give them access again to the Straits of Hormuz so that they can decide who gets to move oil or not. They don't own that. That's not theirs.
And doesn't that put the strength squarely in the US's side, because they're in a countdown mode? I mean, they're burning cash every day, and we're making them do it, and we're not letting them replenish, and they're counting down to zero. Okay,
they're losing $500 million a day.
Yeah. So they're in tough situation. That you would think that would make a reasonable person want to come to the negotiating table, but there's no reasoning with these people. At some point, I guess, what are we, we're giving the world this impression that, we're doing everything possible to try to work with them before we, take out their eyes and the rest of it. I mean, everything that really, can be a way for them to fight back and try to control the strait. I guess they've gone to the nth degree, with these bad actors, and they've also shown them to be who they are, because they can't seem to make a decision on one end or the other, and they literally self-implode, right?
Exactly. And let's let them self-implode, Dr. Bill.
But you're working with the Red-Green Alliance, the communists with the Muslims, and as Erdogan like to say, and Admiral Lyons like to quote him, Islam is Islam is Islam. There are no modifiers. There's no moderate Islam. This is how they behave. And so as you're watching this plat on the stage, you're watching what's taking place with the chaos and confusion in our cities, which is being paid for by the communists within, the traitors within.
Did you have another question, Erica?
Yeah, so I understand the controlling of the waterways to deplete their funding and control, oil moving throughout, the world. But is there a way to defeat Iran without decimating the Iranian population, considering that there's already been people from the citizens that's being squashed by the military? Like, how is there a way for us to resolve this without just decimating the population?
Well, yes, do what we're doing, and then President Trump's just got to tell them, unleash the population. And there are 5 different populations in Persians, Kurds, Azaris, and there are 2 more. But the fact is, let them take over.
Oh, those CIA guys really don't like when General McInerney starts talking to the public. It makes them so nervous.
What I'm
Mary, I
hearing
have one
is
more question for you. Considering we had 42 Muslims elected to office in the United States in the last year, what?
But were they really?
right.
There is that question. But I mean, that being said, I'm like, we've got now all of these governors and mayors all over the United States that are slowly pulling Islam populations into the United States. How do we combat that legally within the Constitution, since they're already here? Like,
One way is by putting a light on who and what these people are and this Red Green Alliance. But another is to sort of start understanding what we're looking at. Esem al Arian out of Egypt was the head of the Muslim Brotherhood. He was in prison many years. They let him out for the Arab Spring, for the revolution that they tried to have there. And then they put him back in prison. But he had written a piece on how to take over the United States. And he said, you have to run the same plan that homophobia did and make it so people are so uncomfortable to tell the truth about Islamophobia. And so they're trying to control the narrative as they move into this country. Governor Abbott should be ashamed, letting them build Muslim cities in Texas, and understand if our Constitution is one nation under God, not Muhammad, okay? And if they do not abide by our way of life and our culture, and we're back to 1700, or excuse me, 700, fighting the holy wars, then you don't let them in your country. And the idea was obvious that Obama and Biden were bringing the enemy inside the wire, opening our borders, and the fact that Obama and Biden were working with the Vatican and with the false popes to open our borders. They put the plan in place in 2012 to run our borders. If you can see that that's an operation against the United States, then you get them, and might I say, the hell out of here.
Excellent. Mary, we're reaching the end of the show. Some final thoughts.
First of all, you're never going to hear this truth from the legacy media. They're paid to lie. We just found out about the Southern Poverty Law Center. They were being funded, working with the CIA, the FBI. They were funding the KKK. They were trying to create as much division and chaos in this country. Exposing the Southern Poverty Law Center is a big deal. Don't believe, start using your gut instincts, people. Watch what they're doing and also start talking. Don't let them get you into these false arguments where you're going to hate your neighbor or hate anybody. This is we, the American people, take back our country. And if those who are invading it, that Obama and Biden, who are both filthy communists, worked to transform, i.e., destroy the United States, the only way it doesn't happen if we, the people, stand up.
Fantastic. Well, it's been a very interesting show. It's extremely timely with what's going on. I mean, we're all standing on pins and needles to see what happens in the next 2 days, in terms of pushback and where do we go from here? Is it finally the red line and let's just get moving and get it done?
One more thing, Dr. Bill. There's one important thing. Look at the left. Obama sent in David Axelrod to the Vatican to get Leo to come out and say, to start going against President Trump. And only we find out that David Axelrod's there meeting with the Pope as they try to get in the way of what Trump is doing. And that the Vatican and Francis, the false Pope, was also helping to run our borders with all these illegals. We're also taking back the Vatican. Leo's had to stand down now. It didn't go too well for him when Archbishop Vigano came out and exposed him.
Very interesting. Very good. Well, I appreciate all the input. It's great having you on, Mary, as usual. I want to thank the generals, both Paul Vallely and Thomas McInerney, for their input. And thank you, everybody, for showing up to today's show, Power, Peace, and the National Security. Take care and have a nice day.
Thank you, Dr. Bill. Thanks, Erica.
Blue lights and sirens, yeah, it's time to go. No time to defund us. You should know that we're not perfect. We're human, we're flawed. Just say to some grace for the sake of us all.